Good evening, adventurers, and welcome back to the Maze. This is MazeCast episode number 19. I am the Master of Mazes, Carl, and with me, as always, is the apprentice, my son, Steven.
What up, what up?
So let's jump right into it. Welcome back. Glad to have you here with us. Hopefully, you've been checking out our other episodes. We have a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and dive into things here. We are super busy with all of our paid games right now. We just have Steven just put up our session four. I'm sorry, our session recaps
Yep.
and some shorts for our Master and Apprentice game. That was session number two. Steven, why don't you go ahead and break them off a piece there about what you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
going on?
So our session three was broken out into two parts. The second part is going up probably tomorrow or Friday, right before our next session, which is coming right around the corner. Dad's busy weekend coming up. But the last session we played, we finally get back to town with the amulet. We go to meet our contact Millennia, who's kind of mysterious. We're not really sure if we trust her. Of course, that turns into a conflict with some masked or cloaked assailants that come after us. Leads into a whole chase through a secret labyrinth in the sewer, into multiple conflicts. It was easily the most combat-heavy session we've had, um, and easily the session that we are ready to jump back into the action on. Because Dad left us right in the middle of probably our toughest fight we've ever had.
Yeah.
So we are all excited. Like I said, part one is up. Part two is already written. I gave part one a few days to kind of let people go through it because it was long for a part one. And I'm going to drop
Yeah.
part two, like I said, probably tomorrow. I'll get part two out
Yeah.
there. But yeah, no, we're having a blast. It's been so much fun. Me and my buddy Josh, who's in the campaign as well, talking about it every day of the week. I even have a list of questions right as soon as session four starts. I'm going to go, hey, Dad, blah, 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 and just like I have like all these questions I want to ask real quick. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're having a
We can do
blast.
that.
We're loving it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm having a lot of fun with it too. Our friend Nathan is in it as well.
Yep.
Nathan and I go back a few years, and he's played with us before. And
I was
like
about to say, shit,
uh,
me and Nathan go back. Like I've known him almost my whole life now.
almost your whole life, yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes back to our old second edition D&D days, so a lot of fun there. We also have our Kingdom of Keshinar will be this coming Friday, the 13th. Hopefully that date does not bode evil for my players. We left off in a pretty jacked up place with them. I'm going to get the second part of the recap up for you guys on that as well. We left off with a cliffhanger with them because I love to leave my players wanting to come back to the table and excited to get back and basically just have them on the edge of their seats with anticipation so they can get back to it.
He
So
does do
we
that.
left that off in a good place too. They basically are looking for their father. They had tracked down some people to talk to, try to find out what had happened to him. They found out from this kind of shady, kind of back alley character that their dad may be looking for something, but they don't know what. They received a missive that was meant for their father that the oldest of the three children refuses to open because it's not meant for them. So there may or may not be information in that that could be useful to them. But they basically were in their hotel room and one of them got awakened by a dagger at the throat. As apparently somebody has snuck into their room looking for information about their father. So that's where we left that one off. So
Dagger to the throat is
we
the world's oldest alarm clock.
it really is. It really is. So I get your point, as you Callus would say.
Oh my!
Um,
Watch that short
yeah,
if you want to see a
yeah,
Looney Tunes moment.
yeah. If you want to see a Looney Tunes bumper, check out that short
Good
from
God.
our Master and Apprentice campaign. So we've got the Order of the Flagon. Session number 2 is going to be on Saturday the 14th. Don't ask me how 4 married guys got their well, 5 including me, all got our wives to agree to let us out of the house on Valentine's Day in the afternoon. But we will be playing that game
Look,
from 1 to 4.
looks
So
like
I'll get
dinner's
some
gonna be
more.
expensive, boys.
It
Good
is, boys.
luck.
So I've got my wife has made me make expensive dinner plans for afterwards to make it up to her.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, she already got her Valentine's gift, some Skechers shoes she wanted. So we will be doing some photos of that and doing a recap of that on this coming Sunday for you guys, so you can catch up on what's going on with the Order of the Flagon. But we've got some TTRPG news to jump into here. Steven, you wanted to talk about something new from Daggerheart.
Yeah, Critical Role's already dropping their first expansion for Daggerheart, which is, I mean, I guess you could argue it's pretty quick, but
Yeah,
it's an indicator of how well it's doing, obviously.
yeah,
I don't want to give too much away. I mean, I'm sure people are going to go check this out anyways, but it's called Hope and Fear. It is their first official expansion to the RPG. It's got some expansions to the core game mechanics. It's got a bunch more world building options that they've built into the rules and this expansion set. They are adding 4 new classes: the Witch, the Warlock, the Brawler, and the Assassin. Each one has 2 subclasses for that. There's a new domain, which is the Dread domain. That obviously
Nice.
that the Warlock and the Witch are kind of riding that into the expansion, which
Oh
I
yeah.
think, in my personal opinion, I like Daggerheart a lot just from what I've read and seen, but it
Yeah.
was missing like, I don't want to say like, it didn't feel like not scary, but like I missed like, the Raven Loft and the that kind of feeling. It just didn't seem like it was in the base set, which is fine. I mean, that's not a crime to not
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
that. But this dread, the fact that they're adding this in the first expansion, I was like, this is good. Like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's 6 new ancestries. Skykin, Tidekin, and Emberkin are 3 of them. There's 6 new
Hmm.
community types. Just a
Wow.
few that I listed were Hearthborn and Warborn. And they're expanding on a lot of societal backgrounds. I'm not going to go through all of these mechanics, but they did add transformations like Vampire, Werewolf, Reanimated,
Nice.
Shapeshifter, Ghost, and Demigod, which I have an asterisk next to and 2 question marks because what the hell does that
Right.
mean? Um,
Yeah.
and then the last thing I'll say is their GM tools that they've added. There's 130 new monsters in this
Okay.
expansion. 130 brand new monsters.
Okay.
Um, 28 new environments, 4 new campaign frames, 100 new items, including weapons, armor, gear, and magic items, and they include a bunch of blank adversary sheets. So this
Yeah.
is a huge expansion. Right off
How
the
does it
back,
give a page count?
the guesstimated page count is at least 200 pages for this expansion.
Gotta be. I would
This
say it's
this
gotta be. But
is
that many
this is
items and that many
massive.
creatures, it's gotta be. I would say it's probably going to be pushing 300 pages.
I've seen the deluxe edition. It comes with a sick GM screen. It
Okay.
comes with a very cool GM screen, new character sheets, new upgraded character sheets, quick reference guides, a bunch of new like touchy feel good deluxe stuff. Looks like pre-release or pre-order rather is 2 weeks before the full release, which is summer of this year. So
Okay.
this looks like a sick expansion. This might be one that gets me into Daggerheart personally because
Does it give an MSRP on it?
not yet. I don't see one.
No.
So
I'm gonna go on record because their first set came out and it was right in at $60,
yeah,
and you got a lot for $60.
I think it was fair. I
I'm
think it
gonna
was fair.
say I'm gonna say this will probably be between the $50 $55 mark.
I mean, in the fact that like their
Unless it
first
comes with cards. Now, if it comes with cards and it's a box set like the first one, 60 $70.
well, if it's since it's got new ancestries and stuff, I imagine it's probably going to come with cards. Um,
Probably. And new domains.
yeah,
And
new domains, but 130 new monsters on your first drop that's big.
that's
That's big.
well, I mean, they were kind of lacking in the monster department in the first place.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they got
I mean,
nearly enough.
I think their base was exactly that. I think they were just trying to get people to play their new game, and then
Yeah.
this is where they're really gonna crank up the heat. So I'm excited.
Good.
I saw this and was kind of surprised at how much content they're cramming in here, especially for a summer 2026 release.
Right.
Um, but anyways, check it out. It looks awesome. We'll have links and everything for you guys.
Yeah. I will most likely be picking that up to add to my Daggerheart collection in case we ever get back to it.
100%.
Speaking of the fine folks over at Darrington Press, let's talk about Mr. Chris Perkins.
Yep.
New hire, well, not a new hire anymore. He's been with them almost a year now. But Mr. Perkins recently had an interview with Polygon where he talked about missed opportunities over at WoTC. Let's talk about it. We've all talked about it. It has been a mystery that's been going on for a while. The obelisks. Okay, we all know about the obelisks that were prevalent in the mines of Fendelver. They came up in the Tomb of Annihilation, the Rime of the Frost Maiden. There were these strange black obelisks that were in all of these modules, all these game adventures, and rumors were just flying around about what these things were. Why were they in different adventures? What was it leading to? Fan theories came out, and it went crazy. I mean, we're talking about going all the way back to 2015, so 11 years ago. And Chris Perkins said that when he was back in 2015, when he was heavily involved in the day-to-day design of the games and stuff like that, that he was helping to write these. Um, these were basically all going to lead up to Vecna. The basically the weavers, a species of creatures called the weavers, had created these obelisks, and at some point the Netherese get a hold of them, and Vecna basically manipulated the Netherese into using these. These obelisks are basically some type of a chronomancy item that would allow you to travel in time. And the buildup was going to be all the way up to the all the way up to the Eve of Ruin, where we had Vecna, and basically Vecna was going to use this obelisk that he had stolen to basically manipulate time, manipulate events, so that he could reach his ultimate goal of becoming a god. Well, when Chris basically got his promotion and moved out of everyday development of games and moved into other areas within the company, this just kind of fell flat. You
Mm.
know, he reached back to hand the baton off to somebody and nobody took it. So, unfortunately, the reason that the Eye of Ruin from Vecna's Eye of Ruin did so poorly is because a lot of people had built up for 10 years that, hey, this is coming, we're going to get our payoff. And then the Eye of Ruin comes out and there's no mention of the obelisk, there's no mention of time travel, there's no mention of anything, and it all just fell apart.
Yeah.
And according to the article, which we will post down in the description for you guys, so you can check it out if you haven't already seen it. Apparently, the payoff was going to be that the party would stop Vecna, they would trigger this obelisk, they would travel back in time to the time of the Nethril Empire, and then they would have interactions with the Nethril Empire, whether joining them, fighting them, what have you,
Mm.
which would have led to its own series of adventures, I'm sure. But um, obviously, an opportunity missed by WoTC. I think that that's probably what really led to the Eye of Ruin being so poorly received by the community. The fact that nobody really talks about it, nobody plays it. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I wish that they could have done it. But now with Chris gone and nobody at WotC really interested in it, I doubt we'll ever get the end of it. So hopefully somebody out there somewhere has some fan content that they could share with us, where somebody did the Eye of Ruin correctly, where the damn obelisk is in there, we can actually get that playthrough for. So it's
Yeah, I
sad that
mean,
they had
it's
done.
especially for this, this year being the end of the Stranger Things series. We were just talking about this, to drop, in the last couple years, Vecna and that name alone, people know who Vecna is that had no
Yeah,
intention on ever knowing who Vecna was. And to have a
right,
campaign that's been brewing and brewing in a plot device that's been, put here and there through this lore just for it to kind of go nowhere. It makes it
right.
even like it seems like an even bigger miss now. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's a shame. It's and that probably happens more than we realize.
Probably, but I mean, the fact that this thing was so far reaching, it crossed over so many modules, kind of gave it visibility, right?
Hmm.
And, that got the fans talking and had people with their fan theories. I remember watching one from Bob World Builder online about probably a year and a half ago, where he talked about this. And this fan, and I can't remember the fan's name, but if I can find the YouTube video, I will link it in the show notes for you guys. He had everything. I mean, he was citing resources, and he had everything drawn out on this board, where he had it all worked out, and he knew that it was going to basically it was going to cultivate down into Vecna and that final boss, and that was going to be where everything kind of paid off.
Hmm.
And then it didn't. So sad, but I guess those are the breaks. So
Yep.
if anybody knows of any fan made content where they actually got the payoff, let me know, because I would love to see it. Um, but I mean, say lovey, right? So
That's
let's.
right.
We don't have any Kickstarter news this week for you guys. We didn't really have a chance to dive into much. Um, I've got too many irons in the fire right now with Kickstarters and people reaching out to me to play test stuff for them. And with all the games I'm running, I just haven't had a chance to get online and really cruise around the way I do. But we do have some information for you guys about some pop culture, video games, movies, and TCG news. Stephen, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah. Some very sad and confusing news out of the Ashes of Creation camp. I think I've written maybe one or two blog posts about this game, or mentioned it in general. I think we've even talked about it on the podcast before.
Yeah, yeah.
Ashes of Creation was going to be probably one of the bigger MMOs, at least coming out of America in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the games that are American, or not even just American, just MMOs in general, most of them that people play now are the same ones they've been playing for the past 15, 20 years. And this was like this was going to bring everybody together. It's going to be a new game that we could all kind of experience. Well, that game has now, it's been canceled. The studio's gone. Everything, it's over.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with this game, you probably have this news already, and you probably heard it from other YouTubers. I wanted to put it here because, to me, it is a sign of just exactly how we feel like when we're like, oh man, this is too good to be true. There's no way this happens. And then like, it does crash and burn, and you kind of
Yeah.
remember, like, why you're a jaded old nerd now because we have seen this a million times over and over.
Right.
And you, like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to do it. And then you kind of like, oh, I don't know, man, this feels a little different. And then it still happens.
Then they jerk the rug out from under you. Yeah.
So I'll give some insight here. I think there's a lot of things that are going to come. This is going to be a multi-year, probably a court case. But just so people know, Steven Sharif was the lead designer at Intrepid Games, who was making the game. This game was crowdfunded on Kickstarter. But Steven Sharif was a independently wealthy guy. He didn't really hide that. He made that pretty well known. He started the studio and started the game development out of his own pocket. It was like, hey guys,
Right.
I have this idea. This is what I want to do. I can fund most of it, but I'm going to need help. And early indicators of how much he spent out of his own pocket for this was $30 million out of his own
Wow.
money. And then they funded a ton more on Kickstarter, and then with the Steam release. Well, long story short, his story and a lot of the other developers at Intrepid's story before they were laid off was in the last month or two when they were going to Steam to launch, uh, the they sold the company to a board,
Hmm.
and just I guess probably to help them facilitate a Steam release and stuff. I don't really know the
Right.
ins and outs of how that works, but long story short, it was always, oh, we don't have a board of directors to answer to. We can do whatever we want. And then all of a sudden there was a board, and it's like, okay, sure. And that board apparently seized control after the Steam release and said, hey, we're going to lay off like 20 people or something. And I think it only ended up being about 10 people. And Steven said, okay, well, that sucks, but we can continue. And then not long after that, something happened, and no one has said what, but Steven quit. He was like, I'm done, I leave. And all of his developers left with him. And he says it's because they were going to make him do something that he could not morally agree with. Um,
Wow.
so he left. And when he left and the lead designer, like the lead developers left with him, I think it was about 25, 30 people. The very next day, the board of directors enacted the Warren Act, which, if you don't know what the Warren Act is, it's a California law that kind of forces you to prove how you're paying employees and all kinds of like work and wage law that I'm not going to get into. But long story
Right.
short, they did that, and they basically used that as an excuse to fire everybody at the entire studio. Because without Steven there, who's been running the studio, without everyone else there, that Warren Act was basically a death sentence for everybody else that was left. So the studio's
Wow.
gone, the game's gone. Basically, they said the game will be live until there's a server update. When the server tries to update, there will be no server, and it's gone. Um,
Wow.
on the few little tiny messages we've seen on the official Discord and online, Steven says it's far from over. People are speculating he's going to try to get back the rights to the game and shop it to another, either start a new studio or shop it to a different studio. It's hard to
Outsource it
say.
to somebody to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to say now, and a lot of what made the game special were the people that were there, and if they're not going to be a part of it, we don't really know. Um, so, real honestly, a sad story, and we're probably, if we ever know even part of the truth, it'll probably be such a small part that we're not going to be able to do much with it. Um, but sad. So I wanted to include that here. I was excited for the game. I played the alpha. It was really fun. So I'm not a part of the belief system, and I wrote an article about this on our website. But a
Yeah.
powerful quote that came out of this whole thing. There was a guy talking about this news named Josh Strife Hayes, who I really like his takes on a lot of gaming and pop culture stuff. And he was kind of talking about how frustrated he was that people were saying, "Oh, MMOs are dead now. Ashes is gone. MMOs are dead." And games like RuneScape and Neverwinter and World of Warcraft and all, they've been existing this whole time. They're going to continue to exist.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to be sad in terms of like, oh, well, now I can't play games anymore. It's just sad to see a game that had what seemed to be a bright future, bright hope, is now gone. But one thing I want to leave with this is he said, these games are not dead. These games still exist. You can go play these games right now. And if you feel like there's nothing for me to do in these games have thousands of hours of content, And most people that feel like they're done with them are people that are just rushing through the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So his quote was, most people, all they care about are experience points, not the point of the experience. And I really like that quote because it is a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not just video games. It's tabletop games. It's movies. It's TV shows. There's all these
Right.
things that where people, the only goal they have is to blow through it. They want to be at
Get to
the
the
end and
end.
done.
Yeah.
And it's like if that's the point, like what are you rushing to? If this is recreation, if you're here to have fun, and your version of fun is to finish the fun, where are you go? Like what are you rushing towards? Like what's on the
Yeah.
other side of it?
Well,
So
and what fun are you missing along the way to that final destination?
yeah, I mean, like the funny saying is like maybe the friends, the journey was the friends we made along the way, and that rings true in a lot of things. I mean, we're in session 4 of the Master and Apprentice campaign, and we're having so much fun, and we're not even close to the end of the first part of our quest, and we're already like,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if we were like, here's the necklace, goodbye, see you later, okay, next one. It's like we would miss
Yeah.
all the crap that we're in now, and it's like, it's just don't don't see news like this and feel like it's over. Don't see news like this about a new game that you were hopeful for, and now it's like, oh, I don't want to play World of Warcraft because that game's old, or I don't want to play D&D anymore because this new game is out. Well, like you're
Right.
missing the point. The point is to
Yeah.
get involved, get into these things, have fun with them, experience them like in the moment. And if you want to try something new, that's not a crime, but don't feel like just because something isn't new, it's not worth your time.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So there's some more WoTC and MTG drama
New
going on
day,
right
new
now.
drama.
Holy cow! New day, new drama. I just, I've said it before. I'm not a WoTC hater.
Me
I
either.
just, it's the problem seems to be that WoTC can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And it's not just WoTC, it's Hasbro. I mean, they're the ones at the end of the day are kind of over top of Magic the Gathering. But Stephen, we had that article that you are going to post a link up to the YouTube video. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
So yeah, I mean, this YouTube video is great. This guy, I've seen a lot of the Magic historians videos along with the Tolarian Community College videos. I like both of those guys from Magic content. Um,
Yep.
this does delve a little bit into news that we covered last week about the whole, or 2 weeks ago, about the whole like Ninja Turtles cards showing up in Lorwyn Eclipsed pre-release
Yep.
packs, which like what the hell. Um, but there is a new, some new things that are happening, which is hard to believe that there could be any new drama, but there is. Um,
Apparently, yeah.
so they're releasing Secret Layer, which is already like Secret Layer in Universes Beyond are a sensitive subject for a lot of people, and I totally understand why. Um,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily hate every Secret Layer just because it's Secret Layer. I don't like Secret Layers that don't fit with like the identity of Magic. Um,
Right.
but WotC has released a new tier of Secret Layer called Chaotic Secret Layer or Chaos Drops or something like that.
Mhm.
And it's just different versions of the cards, which is fine. That's okay. But the price is why people are kind of up in arms here.
Yeah.
They're releasing like a tiered price system where it's like, oh, you can get the cards and it's going to be $20 for like this set of cards. Okay. Well, then it's like, oh, well, if you want these cards and then this extra bonus Good Boy card and you want it to be foil, well, that's going to be twice that. And I think
Yeah.
the prices, the last time I looked, like some of the packs are going to be like $100. And these, like, keep in mind, a lot of these secret layer drops, they're not cards you're going to use in a Magic game. They're like collectible. That's what they're for.
Right. Correct.
Um, but the prices, like, it seems like they keep going up. They keep getting new tiers and new additions. And really, what it is they're hoping that the fear of missing out, right, FOMO, is going to force people to buy these like new layers of secret layer cards and these new tiers of super edition this or that, just because you don't want to miss it, because secret layer, when the cards
Right.
do sell out, they don't reprint them. They are gone. There's no more. um
Yeah. And then the bidding war starts on eBay.
yeah, so it's like, it just seems like uh so they're called chaos layer sets. There is a $10, $20, $30, $40 edition that they've released with probably what they've hinted at much higher editions with like different foils and different, like, oh, in this set you can have like there's 7 cards. This one comes with 3. This one comes with 4. So you need to buy both to get them all. And it's just, it seems predatory, and in a time where they are fighting tooth and nail for their reputation already, why
Yeah.
even open yourself up for this? Like, why even do this? You
Yeah,
could.
because it comes across like a cash
It's
grab.
well, in that
And
it's like so
I get it.
disrespectful.
I get it. You're a business. That's what
Yeah.
you're in business to do, to
And
make
I
money.
think,
I have no
yeah,
problem with that. But when you do it at the expense of eroding your fan base and the faith that the fan base has in you, I mean, where's the longevity in
yeah,
that?
I think even Magic fans, there's going to be a limit where it's like it's not like everything. I understand they want to make money, and it's like these things are already $20, but if one year they're like, well, guess what? This year they're $21, and then the next year they're like, well, guess what? This year it's $22, and
Yeah,
I'm not getting an extra card or extra value in it. It's just you're doing it because you know you can do it.
yeah,
People have to get to a point where they're just like, okay, like I'm good,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And
And that's quite honestly, that's going to be up to the individual. Where
yeah,
do you
yeah,
draw the line? Where do you stop getting your value out of the price point that they set?
I would recommend everybody kind of do what I do, where you see a Magic expansion or a secret layer drop that you like, you buy it, and other than that, you don't. I mean, don't
You know,
don't be FOMO'd into buying like exclusive sets or special edition anything. If you're not going to set it out on your shelf or you're not going to play it at a table, don't buy it. Just don't buy
what's
it.
the point?
Just don't buy it.
Yeah, what's the point? Sets in a box and you never touch them again. And then when you pass away, your kids throw them out.
Yeah,
So,
it's just I don't. It just seems like they had a chance to make good PR, and like after all of the TMNT with the Lorwyn stuff and all the other stuff they've been going through, like this was such an easy win to just be like, hey, we're gonna do a secret layer. It's gonna be a new edition, and
20 bucks.
why not make it the same price as last year, but every fifth pack somebody buys, it's gonna be like the chaotic edition that's gonna have a completely
Yeah,
different look to it. And then it's like
right,
people are gonna buy more because of the whole RNG of getting a chaotic pack,
right.
but it doesn't make you look like a bunch of greedy assholes by just
Yeah,
charging more for it. So you
yeah,
still make the money, but you're doing it in a fun way. That's like if people don't care about the chaotic edition, they don't buy it, and then the people that do
yeah,
want it, they'll buy more. Like that just seems like such an
100%.
easy way to do the same thing with less bad PR. And by the way, WoTC,
100%.
I've said this over and over again. You can just hire me,
Yeah.
bro. You don't even have to pay me that much.
Well, yeah, just pay me in magic cards.
Bro, sponsor the podcast, and I'll just give you.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
all these ideas just just
yep,
literally just sponsor the podcast. Send
yep.
Dad some
Just
free
drop us a
books.
comment down here.
Yeah,
Just whoever at WotC is watching this,
just
drop us a comment down below, and I'll get you in touch with
we
their
could save you
price.
so
And
much trouble for a small sponsor. That's all I'm saying.
that's all we're saying. So let's get into our extra loot. We wanted to talk some about TTRPG trends
Hmm.
and what's going on in the TTRPG community right now. And the first question that Steven posted to me is, what TTRPG trend is worrying you right now?
Yeah,
And honestly, I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. The good thing is with Kickstarter and Backer Kit and the community being the thriving community is online, there is a plethora of new TTRPGs that are out, are on their way, are in the process of coming out either through Kickstarter, Backer Kit, or people sending them off and just out of pocketing it and making it available online.
yep,
That to me is inspiring that there's that much interest out there, that all these different games are out there.
yeah,
There is a cornucopia of different types of games that should appeal to pretty much everybody that
yeah,
are available or will soon be available. My concern is I simply don't have enough time to see them all,
yeah,
let alone play them all.
yeah,
And I feel like while I'm hitting some high spots with, we've got Oathhammer that came out recently that I picked up through Kickstarter. I've got the Old World TTRPG coming out for Warhammer that I've already got the PDF for, and I'm looking for the books to come out in the next couple of months. Pretty excited about that one. But there's others that I'm sure are getting lost in the shuffle because there's simply so many of them.
hmm,
And that stream of just creative content coming out, I know I'm missing some gems, and it bothers me because I'm going to miss them. So I try to keep my ear to to kind of what's going on in the community, keep my finger on the pulse of the community, and kind of listen to what people are saying about new games they're trying out, things like that, because I want to try some new games.
Yeah.
I just talked to a I just talked to a content creator on Instagram last night. He and I went back and forth for about an hour and a half. He started following me. I looked at his profile because I always check out the profiles of the people that start following me just to see, what are their interests? Are they somebody that's interested in following me? Do we have similar interests? What have you? And he's talking about this TTRPG that he's made for his table. It's a homebrew world, homebrew system, and they've been playing it for years, and his
Mm.
players love it. And I asked him about it, and we started talking about it, and he kind of filled me in a little bit. I got kind of excited about what I was hearing because it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic kind of high fantasy setting, low magic, and I got kind of excited about what he was telling me. And he's going to send me a PDF eventually for me to kind of look over, read over his world that he's created, the rule system, and things like that. And we're going to roll test it at our table.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point in the near future, be on the lookout for that. We'll keep you guys posted as that happens. But those are the kind of little bits, those little gems that are out there somewhere that we all miss because there's just so many things coming at us at one time.
Yeah, and
That's what worries me about the trend right now in the TTRPG community.
yeah, I mean, you got to also think like, you and I are doing this probably more than most. Like, we're looking on Kickstarter more than the average consumer. We are talking to people involved in the space more than the average consumer. So, like,
Yep.
imagine if you're just like a guy that plays D&D with his buddies. He's not DMing. He's not in the space. He's not making videos or podcasts or anything. And he's like,
Yeah.
that guy absolutely. He's gonna pick one TTRPG he likes, and he's never ever gonna know about any of the other ones because he doesn't have time. And
Doesn't have fun. Yep.
so I think I'm right there with you. I mean, it's kind of like it went from famine to feast really fast with like Kickstarter and
Yeah.
like a new interest in D&D because of Stranger Things, but also other things, Critical Role and all that. It kind of all happened like it seems like COVID really set it off, where like Critical Role popped
Yeah.
off, Kickstarter got bigger and bigger and bigger, and Backer Kit and all this stuff.
Stranger Things kicked off.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
everything happened in the last like 6 7 years, and it's like people went from like, oh, I know about D&D and Pathfinder to like people talking about, I mean, games that I've never. Every time I go on Kickstarter or go into a game shop, I see a new game that like people are into and it's making money, and I didn't even know about it. And again, we are people that spend a lot of our free time in the space, researching the space, talking to people, going to game shops,
Mhm.
like all that stuff. Um, so I'm right there with you. I mean, it's just there's so much good stuff. And again, we've said this 1,000 times, but a big reason that this podcast exists, that this project exists, is to find those little games that most people would miss and try to give them. I mean, it's not like our podcast is getting 1 million views, but if we can get
Yeah, we got 52 subscribers.
big, huge, by the way, happy 50
That is not
subscriber,
that big.
happy
I'm
50
happy for
subscribers, man.
each and every one of
I
them.
mean, we haven't done this. We have done this, I guess, around 8 months now. And if
Yeah.
you would have told me 9 months ago, you and your dad are going to have a D&D podcast, or a tabletop game podcast, really, and y'all are going to talk about pop culture and all the shit you already do anyways, and there's going to be 50 other human beings in the world that are going to tune into that, I would have been like, no way, bro. There's absolutely
Yeah.
no way. So thank you for 50. Now we're at 52, and we hope that we can keep bringing y'all these games that maybe, again, nobody would hear about, nobody would know about. Because a lot of those games, like one I can call right off the top of my head is Old Gods of Appalachia. I'd have never known about
Yeah.
that game ever until we did this podcast, and I found it.
Yeah.
And now I listen to the podcast every week, their podcast that they do, and I have the player's handbook, I have the DM's handbook, I have a bunch of campaigns already. I'm actually sneaky little plug here, but I'm actually thinking about running that game as the DM and have my dad play with
Oh
our group
yeah,
of
I'll
people.
play.
Um,
Sign
I've
me up.
I've knocked around the idea. We'll see what happens. I'm still kind of working through it, but anyway, Dad's right. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that's kind of what the reason that it scares us is why we also do this podcast is to try to be a safety net where it's like, hey, that one would have slipped through, and you guys wouldn't have known about it. Well, maybe now you do. So
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, so the next question that Stephen posed to me is, what is the very first character that you ever played, if you remember? I mean, I know it's been eons ago, but I do remember. And I've mentioned my first DM on here. My cousin Jerry was my first dungeon master as a kid when I first got into D&D back in '83. Um, end of '82, so fall of '82 into '83. My first character ever, and I know this is a lame name, but I called him Phoenix. He was a human fighter. and my cousin Jerry decided that, your character starts out at first level, but he's got to have a flaw.
I
You need
agree
a
with that,
flaw.
by the way. I agree with
Yeah,
that, by the way.
give me something, anything, physical detriment, handicap, alcoholic, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. He's missing his left eye. Yeah, I don't know why that came into my head, but I'm like, okay, he's missing his left eye. So, his perception was impaired. If you came at him from the left side, he was kind of at a disadvantage. But it made me come up with creative ways to play around that flaw.
Yep.
And I remember that character because I played that character for almost 2 years until my cousin Jerry passed away. And I love that character. I still have the character sheet. I still have the miniature that I painted up for it from the old Ralph Partha set, that's sitting in here on my shelf right now in a cozy little box, which surrounded by styrofoam so he doesn't get damaged. And I still take that little miniature out from time to time, and I think about all the fun we had at the table with him. So that was the first character I ever played. Steven, do you remember
I
the first character you ever played in my game?
I vaguely do. So the first like real in-depth memories I have were my elf sibling with Audrey. That was
Yep.
not my first though.
No.
My first I played, she was not playing with us yet,
Nope.
and I think I had a dwarf,
You did.
and I'm pretty sure I remember asking vividly. I remember asking, "Can I buy a crossbow as a dwarf?" And the reason I
Yes.
wanted to do that was because I was into Warhammer by then.
Yeah.
And so in Warhammer, dwarves, their missile infantry were a lot more like artillery based. They had like cannons and stuff. But
Yeah.
but the cheapest infantry, as far as points wise, you could get as a dwarf as missile infantry was the quarrelers. They had crossbows, and I
Yeah.
thought it was so cool. And I remember vividly at the table asking, "Can my dwarf have like a crossbow as a backup?" And everyone else is like, "That's crazy! What? Like, what are you talking about?" And Dad went, "Yeah, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about like, is it his main weapon or his backup weapon? How proficient is he with it?" And I remember feeling like, not that they were being mean, but they were like, "Why would you want to do that? That seems so ridiculous as a dwarf." And I was like, "Oh man, am I doing it wrong?" And Dad was like, "Hey, it's fine. Let's do it, and let's talk about how it's
Yeah.
gonna work." And I remember like that was like I felt, oh, okay, great. Like I can play this character. And I don't remember. I mean, that was a long, long time ago, so I don't really remember much else about him. But I remember building him. He had the crossbow. That's kind of like a
Yeah.
distinct thing about him. I don't remember his name or anything. I don't even remember what the campaign. I'm sure it was second edition. I don't remember
It
anything
was
else.
second edition. I still have the miniature. That's in there on my shelf too.
Yeah, I remember that was the first time I played. I saw him, and I mean, I was a huge Warhammer fan, so I knew I had to go dwarf. And ever since then, really, I've been a dwarf guy. The only time I
Yeah.
do anything different is to be different.
Yeah.
So, but I did want to speak on Jerry's advice to give your character kind of a detriment or kind of like a handicap.
Yeah.
We've talked about that so many times, but like it adds so much flavor to not only the game but also like your experience playing the game.
Mhm.
Um, like my character right now in the campaign has multiple, and there's a few that the other players don't even know about yet, and that makes it fun because the DM can play with it a little bit. You can play around it. It just adds flavor to the game, and as a kid, I remember playing video games, and I'd always play Madden, the football game, and you could create your custom character. And I was always on the Dolphins, and I would create a custom character, and I would max his stats out all the way. He was the best. He was
Yeah.
best at everything. And
Mhm.
I remember playing the first. I was like so excited. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna be awesome. He's gonna own, and he did. He was great. I couldn't be stopped. And I got through one game of that. It was like, well, that wasn't very fun because all of his,
Yeah.
he's perfect at everything. So I could break every tackle. I was faster than everybody. I could tackle anybody. I could catch any ball. That's not fun. After you do that one time and you get it out of your system, you're like, oh, it's a lot more fun to like know oh, my guy's really good at X but not Y, right?
Right.
Um, so I do think people should really explore that if they don't. I think a lot of people that have played most any game probably do, but for new players out there, don't try to make your character perfectly optimized and balanced on your character sheet. Throw some, my guy's fucking ugly, man. His charisma's a 2. He sucks, and then add those stats somewhere else. Make it interesting on yourself. Make it interesting
Yeah.
and give yourself something to play around, some adversity to toy with, because I promise it'll be better.
It will be. I found that when you give your character something like a flaw, a shortcoming, an idiosyncrasy, something like that, it makes your character feel more real.
Yeah, yeah. What
It
person is
makes them
perfect?
feel it makes them feel more grounded. It gives your DM something to tap into and to role play off of. It gives your character something that humanizes them and makes them relatable, not only to yourself as a player, but to the other players at the table.
To the world.
And
I mean, you know, if you're like
yeah,
this perfect angelic being walking around, my first question is, well, why are you a level 1 guy walking down an alleyway then? What are you doing here? You know,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
supposed to
If you're
be,
perfect, why are you even here? Why aren't you
yeah,
in heaven? Why
you're
are you
su-
in Mount
you're
Celestial?
you're supposed to be a flawed I mean, that's the whole point of it. And I remember when I was
Yeah,
writing this character, you know, this is the first campaign I've played in my adult life where I feel like I can kind of understand it and feel out what's important. Like I started with what my character was bad at and what the troubles that he had had in his younger life and the things, you know, some of the bad things he had done. That's like how I started. Like in my
right.
mind, I'm like, how am I going to make this character? Oh well, he's an orphan, and he was, you know, all and like started from there. All these bad things he was involved with because that was more interesting than, oh well, he can also throw daggers and he's really good with them. Well, that's not interesting. You know, that's not
Yeah,
fun. You know, let's talk about what he's not good at and what kind of problems he could get into.
yeah. So the last question, Steve, why don't you go ahead and fire that off then?
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, because you've had a lot of campaigns implode, you know, and who hasn't, I guess.
Yeah.
But what's worse, a full TPK, and let's say it's a bad one, like players made bad decisions. It's not like everybody's going out in a blaze of glory to save the world kind of deal. This is like something stupid happened, and it's a full TPK, total
Right.
party kill, if you don't know what that means. Um, or, you know, a campaign falls apart, somebody moves away, something bad happens, toxic players ruin a campaign, whatever. What do you
Yeah.
think, in your
So
opinion, is worse?
definitely a campaign falling apart,
I agree.
especially if it's not for a good reason. If people move,
Yeah,
people's life needs change. They have a baby, they get married, take a new job on, they move out of town, whatever.
it is what it
Those
is.
things happen.
Yeah,
Life happens. Those things you can kind of understand. It's sad to see a campaign fall apart for that reason, but it's understandable.
yeah,
Life happens.
yep.
Um, TPKs happen. I've had two TPKs at my table over the years, and one of them was uh, stupidity led to a
Hmm.
decision that caused other people to jump on board, and it ended poorly. And we all sat around and we talked about it, and we made new characters, and we started over.
Yeah,
I've had three campaigns implode. Um, One because two players just could not get along, and they had a falling out at the table, and the people that were at the table were friends of one person or the other, and it kind of fractured the group,
hmm,
and they couldn't play together anymore, and that just kind of fell apart. The other was more recently with a toxic player at the table that bullied someone online and offline. Um, and I've had one that it's just uh, people didn't like the game for whatever reason. It didn't go in the direction they wanted, and it couldn't be salvaged. I mean, that was many years ago when I was a very young DM. But definitely the one that bothers me the most is when a game falls apart
for
and
bad
it's
reasons.
just for bad reasons. Good reasons, understandable. Bad
Yeah,
reasons, not so much.
yeah,
Um, if you as a DM do everything you can to try to keep the train on the rails, great. But understand that there are going to be situations where you cannot. Sometimes it's better just to jump off the train before it runs into the side of the mountain.
yeah,
And this last situation with the toxic player, it ended badly. I was able to salvage half the group. Those people are now in my Kingdom of Keshnar game on Friday nights. So I'm glad that I was able to salvage half that group.
hmm,
The other half are all related, so I understand why they went their merry way. But more power to them, whatever. But I find it as just like a bad roll or a bad night or a bad day at the table where things don't go right. It's a learning moment for you as a player, for me as a DM. We take those lessons into our next game, and we hope that the next game's better. And that's all we can do.
yep. I agree.
So, well, that's going to wrap it for us for this episode 19 of the MazeCast.
Yep,
We are glad that you guys decided to join us tonight. We hope that you stuck it out for the entirety of the video here.
yep.
We would encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It does help us with the algorithm to stay visible and viable in the community, and allows us to get out to more people so they can join us here and share in this merry little corner of the TTRPG community that we've kind of staked out for ourselves.
Yep.
We ask you to share this with friends and family if you haven't already done so. Share it on your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube page, wherever you want. We would love to have more people join us here. Comment and get involved in a discussion either
Mhm.
here or on our Instagram or our webpage,
Discord,
mastersmaze.com.
everywhere. Yeah, I mean, we're
Yeah,
everywhere, and thanks again for the 52 people. I can't get over it. I mean, that is. I
that's
mean,
amazing.
think about talking to you and I just sitting in a room talking to 52 people. Yeah, I mean, that is
Yeah,
unbelievable. Um,
that is.
and keep your eyes out on this weekend. My dad's gonna be a busy man. He's got 3 games going on, which means hopefully
Three
if
games this weekend.
yeah, 3 games Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're gonna have recaps. We're gonna have shorts. We're gonna have videos. It is gonna be a busy weekend. So.
It is, but it's going to be a fun weekend.
Oh, I
So
can't wait.
we're
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
can't wait.
So keep your sword arm free. Keep your torches lit because that maze is deep and it's dark and it's full of shadows and evil creatures.
Full of
So
were rats, man. Full of were rats.
full of were rats, and you guys will know what we mean if you read our recap. So join us back here next time in the maze, and until we see you then, you guys all take care, stay safe, love each other, and let's make this community a better place for everybody.
See you
Good
guys.
night.